Dear children, wishing you a great day. Welcome to your English class. In last class, we saw the lesson A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise, point number 1 to 21. I hope that you all have understood the lesson and also read the lesson. Now, let us have a short recap of the lesson. A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise. So, once there lived a man who never believed in any kind of work. He spent his time in making sculptures of men, women, castles. He made things of mud, which was fully covered with seashells, and he painted too. And the people, they laughed at him, made fun of him. He thought of putting an end to that, but still he was helpless due to his mannerism, so that it lingered in his mind. And he was like a kind of boy. Some boys, they read, study, they never read their books, they very rarely read the books and study, but they still they get a pass. Like that, in this man's life also, something like that happened. He was by mistake by of the aerial messenger, he was sent to the workers paradise. The gates of heaven was kept open for him, and he entered into the workers paradise. A blunder was committed by the aerial messenger, so the aerial messenger puts the idle man in the workers paradise. And there in the workers paradise we see that all the people were always busy working, but this idle man, he moved about relaxedly in the streets, not paying attention to any kind of work, and roughly pushed or bumped against the people, those were hurrying there. He lay down in the meadows or nearby to the fast flowing streams, and he was scolded by the busy farmers, and he was always interfering or intervening in the way of the others. So there in the workers' paradise, this man, idle man, he met a girl, a busy girl nearby to a torrent who comes to fill her pitcher there, the large jug. And then there is a description about the girl, about the movement of her on the road. It is compared to the fast movement of an expertised hand on the strings of a guitar, and her hair was carelessly done, and the small thin bunch of hair, it fall over her forehead to have a look at the wonder of her eye. And this idle man, he met that girl near the torrent, and he asked her to lend one of her pictures. First she was slightly annoyed, angered, and then she agreed to give it to him. So this is what we have seen in yesterday's class. Now let us start with point number 22. The man started painting. He drew line after line. He put color after color. So he got the picture and he started painting there. He drew lines over there and he put different colors over there. When he completed his work, the girl held up the picture and started at its sides, her eyes puzzled. So once when she got the picture, she held up the picture and she was very surprised. She eagerly looked at it and she was puzzled because she was unable to understand, because she has not seen such kind of things, which was for them, the people, those in the workers paradise, everything was, any work they do, it should be useful and profitable, it should have some purpose. But here she did not understand, she was unable to understand what was the purpose of this lines drawn on it and the colorful things, she did not understand why. Brows drawn, she asked. What do they mean, all those lines and colors? What is their purpose? So, brows drawn, her eyebrows were up in wonder, and she asked, what is the meaning of these lines and those colors and all? What is the purpose of all those? The idle man, he just laughed and he said, nothing. A picture may have no meaning and serve no purpose. He said, just a picture may have it has no meaning and has no purpose also. The girl went away with her picture. At home, away with prying eyes. Prying eyes means watchful, inquisitive, observative. With prying eyes, she held it in the light. So she took the picture and she held it close by to the light, turned it round and round, and scanned the painting from all angles. So she took the picture and she scanned it. Scan means she observed it very carefully, the painting from all angles. At night she moved out of bed, lighted a lamp and scanned it again in silence. So at night again she silently she came out of the bed, lighted a lamp and again started observing very carefully that picture again and again in silence. For the first time in her life, she had seen something that had no meaning and no purpose at all. So, first time in her life, she had seen something which had no meaning and which had no purpose. Because in workers' paradise, the people did the kind of work which was meaningful, profitable, and had some purpose. So, first time she's seeing such kind of things. When she set out for the torrent the next day, her hurrying feet were less hurried than before, for a new sense seemed to have awakened in her, a sense that seemed to have no meaning and no purpose at all. When she set out for the torrent, so when she had gone to the torrent next day, she went to the torrent, and earlier we have seen she used to, like in the introduction itself of the girl itself, we see that she was introduced as a bustling girl, means a person who moves very energetically or in a hurried manner. So here earlier she used to be hurrying, moving faster, and now her feet became less hurried. So what is the meaning of hurrying feet? Suggests that the girl was always busy doing some work or the other. She never whiled away her time. So she was such kind of a girl. And now less hurried means the girl for the first time had seen some work that had no meaning and no purpose at all. But it was very beautiful. So she spent her time in admiring, and also then she realized that one can do something for mere enjoyment, happiness, which may not have any utility, it may not be useful and profitable also. So the hurrying feet became less hurried than before. For a new sense seemed to have awakened. So she was able to perceive, means she noticed a new feeling in her, a sense that seemed to have no meaning and no purpose at all. She saw the painter standing by the torrent and asked in confusion. So she met him near the torrent and she asked in confusion, what do you want of me? And the man replied, only some more work from your hands. The girl asked, what kind of work would you like? The man said, let me make a colored ribbon for your hair. He answered. And what for? So he said, I'll make some colored ribbon for you. Then the girl asked, what for? What's the reason? Nothing. Just like that, he said. Ribbons were made bright with colors. The busy girl of workers' paradise. So in the early beginning, when he asked for the picture, she was annoyed. She did not give it immediately and she walked away. Then after few days, she gave the picture to him. But now what happened? She gave it immediately. And the ribbons were made bright with colors. The busy girl of the workers' paradise had now to spend a lot of time every day tying the colored ribbon around her hair. So now she got the ribbon, colored ribbons, and now she spent most of her time every day tying the colored ribbons around her hair. The minutes slipped by unutilized. So most of the time it just slipped, moved quietly without any use, without meaningless, with no meaning. Work, much work was left unfinished. So most of the work was slackened and it got delayed. In workers' paradise, work had of late began to suffer. So now work was delayed and work began to suffer. Many persons who had been active before were now idle, wasting their precious time on useless things such as painting and sculpture. So many people, those were very active, busy earlier, now they became idly. They became lazy, spending their time without doing any work. And they were wasting their precious time on useless things such as painting and sculpture. The elders became anxious, so they were very curious because workers' paradise, it was so busy. People were going on working, working, and working, but now like work began to suffer. It got delayed, slackened. So a meeting was called, and all agreed that such a state of affairs had so far been unknown in the history of workers' paradise. So in the meeting, all the people they agreed. So is that in the history of workers' paradise, this was the first time they saw that work was slackened. It got delayed. The alien messenger hurried in, bowed before the elders, and made a confession. I brought a wrong man into this paradise, he said. It is all because of him. So the God's messenger, the aerial messenger, he came there to the meeting and bowed before the elders and he accepted his mistake and said, it's all my mistake. I brought a wrong man into this paradise and it is all because of him that the work is slackened. It gets delayed. The man was summoned. So the man was called. The idle man was called there on. As he came, the elders saw his fantastic dress, his quaint brushes, his paints, and they knew at once that he was not the right sort of for workers' paradise. Once when he entered into the meeting hall, then everybody they understood, all the elders they saw him, his beautiful and colorful dress, his fanciful and attractive brushes, and his paints, and they came to a decision so that this kind of person they do not suit to for the workers' paradise. Stiffly, the president said. So the president he very strictly, very seriously, he said, this is no place for the like of you. You must leave. So the president, very strictly, he said, people of you kind, like, cannot stay here. You must leave immediately. The man sighed in relief and gathered up his brush and paints. But as he was about to go, the girl of the silent torrent came up tripping and cried, wait a moment, I shall come with you. So the man picked all his brush and paints and with great relief, no, he was about to move. Then the girl of the silent torrent, she came, she walked with quick light steps and she cried. She just told him, wait a moment, I shall come with you. The elders gasped in surprise. Never before had a thing like this happened in workers' paradise, a thing that had no meaning and no purpose at all. So all the people, the elders, everyone, they were surprised to see. They were with open mouth. because the girl immediately followed the idle man. So they were surprised because never such a thing has happened in the workers' paradise. A thing had which had no meaning and no purpose at all. So this is the explanation of the lesson. So hard work along with utility based and with basic enjoyment and pleasure is good. At the end of the story, we see the girl's readiness, she's her open-mindedness to change. Only the girl followed him. If he was able to bring the same kind of change, the same impact on many of them in the workers' paradise, then many might have followed the idle man. So here in this lesson we see two kinds of world. One is a world of work and more work and no relaxation. So there is a saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So which makes life boring. And the second one we see the world of enjoyment filled pleasure along with work. So that is the idler's world. It's a better place. Along with work, there is leisure too. So work has no much value just for enjoyment. And in the workers' paradise, life is like boring. But here in the idler's world, work has, in the idler's world, it has both work and leisure too. Work done with pleasure, happiness, and enjoyment. Okay, now let me explain the question answers. 7th, 8th, 10th, many you have objective type. All those you go through, children. Now, ninth one. Why did the elders of the workers' paradise become anxious? The elders of the workers' paradise, they became very anxious because work began to suffer. Means it was slackened. And many people, those were active and busy earlier, now they became very idle. They started wasting their time on doing useless things like painting and sculpture and all. Then what does the line, the man never believed in mere utility, mean? So this line means that the man did not feel that the entire work one did need not necessarily be purposeful or utility based. Sometimes work could be done for mere pleasure and enjoyment. So here this line means that this man, he did not believe, no, like all the work what they do, it should be purposeful and it should be useful also. Sometimes work can be done for mere pleasure and enjoyment, for happiness also. It is not that all work should be useful and purposeful. Then what changes occur in the girl's behavior, attitude of the girl? So before she agreed to give her picture to the wrong man. So before she agreed to give the picture to the wrong man, how was she? She was a very busy girl. She did not spend time in dressing well, in plaiting her hair. Her hair was carelessly done. And she felt very sorry when she saw the idle man standing nearby to the torrent and wasting his time. So this was her attitude before she gave the picture to the wrong man. And then what was her attitude after she gave the picture to the wrong man? She took the picture. She was attracted by the work done by him. She started admiring that secretly. Why did she admire it secretly? Because if the elders, if they come to know, they will scold her. They might scold her. So she admired it secretly, and she spent most of her time looking at them. Now and then she's at night, she came out of the bed and she was looking at it secretly and admiring that. So, and the speed of her work started slacken. It was reduced. When the wrong man offered to make ribbons for her, so how what was the attitude? No, like when the wrong man said, "I'll make some ribbons," She immediately agreed. When he asked for the picture, she did not agree. She was annoyed. But here she immediately agreed, and she got after getting the ribbons, she started tying the ribbon around her hair. And when she followed the wrong man out of the workers' paradise, what was her attitude? She had realized that all work need not be purposeful or utility based. Some work can be done for the sake of enjoyment and happiness and pleasure. And she saw new possibilities open up before her. Therefore, she followed the man out of the workers' paradise. And at the end of the story, there is a complete change in the girl's attitude to life. Who should the credit go to? It is the girl's attitude to change. She was ready to change, the open mindedness to change. And only the girl follows the man out of the workers' paradise. If he was able, he might have made changes on other people also. So then many of them might have followed him. And then in the additional question answers, you can see what did the girl do with the painted picture? The man, he painted the picture and he gave it to her. She took it home and with prying eyes, inquisitive eyes, like a curious eye, she held it close by to the light and observed the painting from all angles by turning the pictures round and round. And at night she got up out of the bed. She came out of the bed. She lit a lamp and she observed it again and again in silence. As for the first time in her life, she observed she had seen something that had no purpose at all. She felt that it was the first time in her life she had seen something which had no purpose and no meaning. And she lit the lamp and observed it in silence. What did the man offer to do to the girl the next day? What did he ask? The next day he asked her that he wanted to make some colored ribbon for her. What did the girl do with the ribbons? What did she do? The girl, she just tied the ribbons around her hair and delayed completing her work. She was busy admiring that and busy tying the ribbons around her hair. So what happened? The work got delayed. Why was the meeting called in the workers' paradise? Because work began to suffer and many people, those were busy and active, now they became idle, wasting their time. How did they waste their time? Making useless things like painting and sculpture. So the elders became anxious, they were very curious and they wanted to know why the work got slackened and they called for a meeting. How do the elders know that the artist was a wrong man in their paradise? The elders saw that the man was attired, means he was dressed up in a fantastic dress and he had brushes and paints with him. They immediately knew that he was not the right kind of person for the workers' paradise. I think children, you all have understood everything. All the question answers, everything you have understood. Read the lesson. I keep repeating. Read the lesson, which is very, very important for you all. Okay, now home assignment. Learn 9, 11, 12 and 13 question answers. Just learn all these, okay? And then additional question answers 6 to 10. All this I have explained now. All that you learn and write for homework 9, 10, 12 and 13 for homework. This you have to write. And the class work, write 9, 11. Yesterday you have written 2 question answers. So along with that, 9, 11, 12 and 13 you have to write it in your classwork. And if any doubts, any clarification, you can immediately call me. Okay? Thank you, children.